Here with Trey Rangel, the top-ranked right-hander in Texas, #2 nationally at the position. Trey, man, appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So let's talk about you getting on the mound to start things off for Texas, the first game of the future games. 4 strikeouts. What was working for you? What was the adrenaline like when you got on the mound?
So the first inning, my fastball and curveball were working for strikes the whole time. The only problem was that my curveball was too middle of the plate. I couldn't really get it down. But second inning was when I started breaking them off and locating that pitch down in the dirt, and that's when I got all the strikeouts. It's when I struck out the side in the second.
So you were here last year. How different is it to come back and kind of have that expectation of what this event's like?
You know, it was a lot better actually. I felt like more confident and I wasn't as nervous because last summer this event was one of my the biggest events I've ever done. So I was definitely a lot nervous coming into this last year, but since I came back, I felt a lot more better and a lot more confident. I wasn't as nervous.
So you were not up to 93 plus with the fastball. I know you said you gotten up to 94. A lot of guys will talk about the adrenaline rush of seeing all those scouts back there. What's that moment like?
It's crazy. So a weird story was whenever I was at area code, my arm did not feel good in the bullpen at all. I threw like maybe 2 strikes in a 10-pitch bullpen. I was struggling. I was nervous too. But when I got on that mound, everything disappeared. My arm felt great. I threw strikes. It's seeing all those scouts and just having them come to watch you is really you feel something else. It's like you just want to go at that pace fast pace the whole time.
One of the best curveballs in the nation, spin rate over 3,000. Tell me about the development of that pitch and what you still feel like you kind of have some room to work on with it.
So when I was younger, my curveball was definitely not one of my good pitches. I could barely locate it. It was everywhere. But last summer I started throwing it with a different grip, and I just tried to throw it like a fastball and just spin as much as I could. And I know definitely I want to be able to locate it literally anywhere at the plate. I'll be able to throw I'll be able to comfortable throwing it 3-1. That's where I want to get to where I know exactly where it's going to go, and I could definitely spin it off if I want to strike some guys out.
Texas, obviously one of the talent hotbeds across the country. When you guys come down here, you put that jersey on with Texas. Is there a little bit of added emphasis? We got to go out there and prove this thing?
Yes, it definitely is, because Texas is a big state and they're known for some good baseball. So you definitely don't want to disappoint the scouts or whoever's coming to watch you. So yeah, definitely.
Guys are watching you and what you do on the field, but they're also watching the other things, the demeanor, what kind of a teammate you are. Your dad being a football coach, Rudy at the Colony. How much do you kind of take that to heart, knowing they're watching more than just what I can do physically in the field?
Yeah, definitely. That's something me and my dad always focused on, was if something bad goes wrong, how do you handle it? Because that's what scouts really care about. And so, especially with my dad being a coach, he's always, when I was young, he raised me of always keeping I wouldn't say a poker face, but if something bad goes wrong, so what? Erase it, quick mindset, and it's flipped, and just keep going. So that's something I really feel like I've always worked on, is always keeping a positive mindset and always keep talking to myself positive, because you're your biggest cheerleader. So if you keep positive talk going through your mind, you'll be all right.
All right, you're a two-way guy, so we're going to have to get the bat in your hand, the pitch. I love you talking about the changing the curveball. I cannot wait to see this thing in action. Let's see that ball in your hand.
All right, so first for my fastball, some people say I grip it weird just because how high my hand is on the ball, but I usually, a normal, you'll be right there, but I'm usually all the way up there. So I'm really high up the seam or with the ball whenever I throw a fastball. And then for my curveball, I just go from here, then I go right on that seam and I put my middle finger on it like that and just throw as hard as I can, just like a fastball. And then for my splitter, I just go about right in there, just like that. And I just think about snapping as hard as I can, and then change up. I'll go right 2-seam change up. So I'm throwing it, putting a lot of pressure on here, and I don't really think about pronating. I just think about throwing like a fastball and just putting a lot more pressure on this, and then maybe a little bit of pronation at the end. And those are all my pitches. So whenever I get to an at-bat, I'll always do this every time. I'll do 3 taps on the ground in front of the plate, and then I'll slide this down. Usually what I do with the taps, I always like to tap it there just because that's where I want my hands to go. I want my hands to stay inside and work out. And then, so I'll get in the batter's box. I like to get on the line. So I'll usually get on the line because my swing's a little bit of a scissor swing. So I like to get on the line. And with my hands, I don't use these 2 fingers at all. I always keep these off just to not have my hands too tense. So that's something I learned when I was young. So it's always stuck with me. And so, yeah, I just get in, and always, if it's a fast throwing righty, I'm thinking right center the whole time. And if he throws one in the middle, inside third, I try to hit it as hard as I can and see where it goes. So especially with a lefty too, I like to always think oppo. I mean, yeah, if they throw it inside, it's a mistake. So you got to be able to hit it. But oppo is where the great swings are at. So that's what I try to focus on.
Awesome stuff, man. Excited to see you showing out here these next couple of years, and best of luck going forward. If you're not already, make sure you follow LakePoint Sports on all our social media channels. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and you get so much more happening here on campus.